So let me just talk to you a little bit first about the assessment, because I think one of the great problems we face globally at the moment is that people have a very inadequate understanding of what's actually taking place. And I'm going to talk for a few minutes, but I'm more than happy for you to interrupt me if you want with a question or to hang on to questions till the end. That's up to you. Okay. We've got to understand the threat if we're going to resist it strategically. So let's talk about what's been happening. Well, in March 2020, we were told there was a virus that was threatening the human population with a rather serious infection that had a high chance of leading to your death. And in response to that threat of a virus, we were told we needed to submit to a certain range of measures around social distancing and lockdowns and wearing face masks and so on. And ultimately, of course, that was superseded, or, in many contexts, those sort of restrictions were superseded by the introduction of a vaccine. And depending on the country, as you well know, they're basically being made more or less compulsory, often in violation of national constitutions and national laws, and certainly in violation of Nuremberg principles. If you investigate and to search for documented scientific proof that the virus exists, there is none. There are a great many documents that have been published that purport to prove that the virus exists, and each of those has been exposed to be a fraud. In other words, that particular document does not constitute valid scientific proof of the existence of a virus. And a researcher called Christine Massey in Canada has written to health and science institutes all around the world and asked them to supply her with proof that that health institute or that science institute has isolated a virus and therefore demonstrated its existence. She's had about 200 replies in the past 15 months, and each of those replies has said, we do not have evidence of isolation of a unique virus that's pathogenic. There's also, you may be aware, plenty of scientific evidence that there's no such thing as a pathogenic virus, but we won't bother to go with that one. We don't need to tonight. The point is, there's no such virus as SARS-CoV-2. Therefore, there is no disease such as COVID-19. However, if we then go a bit deeper and say, okay, well, if they're running this narrative to try and, implement these controls over it, what's actually going on? And of course, one of the things you've no doubt heard of long ago is that the World Economic Forum is promoting what it's calling the Great Reset. And this Great Reset, if you look on the World Economic Forum website, outlines changes they intend to impose on the human population in about 200 areas of human life. So most people, if you ask to say, okay, could you nominate 200 areas of human life? They'd say, well, I'll give you 20 if you give me 5 minutes and I'll think about it. They have quite detailed plans in 200 areas of human life. So it's everything from health and transportation to agriculture and so